Hi, and welcome to the Saltbridge Farm Podcast. My name is Dennis, and I'm your host. And today we have a very special episode. We have our wonderful guest in the house. Thank you for stopping by the farm. We have Vinnie Pizzimenti, Program Coordinator for the Nook.
Thank you for having me, Dennis. It's
Yeah.
really nice to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really happy you took time out of your day to come and kind of spread the message about the Nook and what you got going on there. First of all, what is the Nook?
So the Nook stands for Nourishing Others Opportunity Kitchen. We're a food insecurity program designed to help anyone in Ocean County experiencing food insecurity. On average, we help about 145 households every month, which usually comes out to about 430 to 450 individuals. We also have a pet pantry where we also provide food for a couple of hundred animals every month as well.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I know right now it's a really important time talking about food security with what we have going on. And we did try to record this podcast earlier, but I think everything happens for a reason. The audio didn't come out. But now it's a much more pressing issue right now with what's happening with the government shutdown. And how do you think that's going to affect what you do?
Sure. So I was on a call with the state the other day with other coordinators from other pantries from all different parts, Morris County, Union, and everyone's clients share the same, rightfully so, fear. So everyone is just kind of bracing. So the federal government recently announced that November 1st, typically food benefits are dispersed between the 1st and the 5th of every month, but November 1st, that's not going to happen this time. So everyone is nervous. So I've noticed that there is a lot more resource sharing going on, people posting not just pantries, but information about school lunches, encouragement to really get involved with your community, rely on your friends and neighbors, reach out to people that you think may are maybe at risk of experiencing food insecurity. So it seems like a dark time, but also in dark times, that really seems to be where community tends to shine.
I agree. And we can see how we can pull together. I don't think people realize how many people are on food stamps.
Sure.
You see pictures from back in the Depression where people were actually waiting in a line and they had like a piece of paper in their hand. You don't really see that anymore because people just, buy stuff as normal at the grocery store and that kind of thing. But I do think that that's going to be in everybody's face very soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So if you wouldn't mind, let's go ahead and do a little tour of the Nook.
So this is the hallway. We share a building with another few Bright Harbor programs and a medical supply company. You just saw our giveaway rack, which are items that are either just about to expire or just slightly out of date but completely edible. You're just passing our wall of resources. Here is a giveaway fridge, which we try to keep stocked. And now here you're looking at our food pantry request form, which you would fill out when you come in, as well as our flyer with our hours of operation. This is our waiting room with our giveaway table, a little library, and this is the pantry. This is where the magic happens. You're gonna see a few volunteers. Aside from myself, we're completely volunteer run, and we are so grateful and always looking for more help. We're very diligent about keeping our food separated and temperature controlled in accordance with the food bank standards and Department of Health standards. And then you're going to see a whole lot of Wawa breakfast sandwiches. We're very fortunate to partner with the Food Donation Connection, who connected us to multiple Wawas. They give us breakfast sandwiches, and we are able to send a lot of those to Just Believe, which is a homelessness outreach organization in Ocean County. So they pick up a few hundred sandwiches from us every Wednesday.
Awesome.
And now you're just seeing, the fridges and some pre-made orders. This is our convenience freezer and ice cream. But I try to reserve the convenience foods for clients who only have a microwave to cook with, which is a decent amount of the population. We have a pet pantry. Here is our baby section. All of those items were donated. And then here is our general shelf-stable section. Again, we have sections specifically for clients who are unhoused or have limited mobility and can only use a microwave to cook or don't have anything to cook. So, I keep very portable, nutrient-dense foods in there. And I think that's just about the end of the grand tour.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a wonderful place. And one of the things I really noticed is how you have just an awesome team of volunteers with the biggest hearts, such
They're
kind
wonderful.
hearted people.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of diversity in that volunteer group. Everyone from school kids who may or may not be getting, service hours for graduation, to interns, at the college level, associates, bachelors, even a master's student, and people up through their 80s. And everyone is differently abled. Some people can only lift up to 15 pounds. Some people can't drive. Some people are really good at organizing, which I'm not. So I'm so grateful to have them. Some people like, to interact more with the clients one-on-one, and then others prefer to just hang in the back. We're like a really nice island of misfit toys, all of us, but everyone gets along really well. And we all have that, that singular mission of feeding our neighbors.
Awesome. Yeah. And I can really see some overlap in what we do here on the farm with what you're offering to the public. And down the road, once we get production up and running, I could see us having an abundance of vegetables and produce and herbs and that kind of thing that we could then bring to you to distribute. And if you have more than enough, then I'm sure you could pass it along to who needs it.
I'm so glad that you're able to do that, because I somehow killed my mint plants, which I'm told are, kind of indestructible. So
They are. Yeah, I'm impressed.
thanks. So this is another example of, everyone contributing their unique talents to fulfill that shared mission.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's a real blessing to work for Bright Harbor. We're both programs for Bright Harbor, Saltbridge Farm, and the Nook, and there's other programs as you've seen on the show. And it's amazing how much they do. And what I love is taking this time to have this conversation to see where the areas of overlap are. That way we can help each other out. So, yeah, it's absolutely a blessing to be able to do so. So let's say there's people watching the podcast or listening.
I hope so.
They're out there. And they want to help the Nook out. How can they help the Nook?
So I think that, like I had mentioned earlier, that everyone has a unique area of ability or special interest. So if someone is able to drive, we could always use people to pick up donations for us. If someone is particularly gregarious, I'm always looking to build our food recovery network, which we can dive into a little deeper. If someone, prefers to stay a little more off the grid, or maybe they're very involved in their own community centers or their own special interest groups, like the knitting guild and the
Sure.
the gaming clubs, or food drives are always really helpful as well. And then that's something that they can do, on their own time, or set up boxes, and then, we can go pick up donations. We actually just had a wonderful donation from the Elks group on Friday. They asked me they had gotten a grant, and they asked me for a list of foods that we would like. And we were one of 3 pantries that they chose in Ocean County to make this incredible donation to. And this was something that I coordinated with one of their very valued members. But this is something that she was able to coordinate completely off-site, So the Nook is some place where you can be as hands-on tearing up boxes, or as hands-off and doing voluntary work off the side as well.
Awesome. Do you guys accept monetary donations as well?
Yes. So monetary donations can be made to the Bright Harbor Foundation, and then you can kind of earmark that for the Nook.
Wonderful. What about gifts in kind donations? Like if someone has a van or something like that they want to donate.
I would love a van. That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're out there sitting with the van that you've just been parked for a couple of years now. You know where to take it.
Yeah, maybe make sure it runs, and then just, we'll pick it up.
Yeah. Now, with what's happening in the news with the government shutdown, I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for the community to pull together, and that you in what you're representing here can serve as a lighthouse in this dark times, as a beacon to say, we have a place where we can all come together. And I'm sure churches could help out, or other organizations, schools,
Sure.
and that kind of thing.
And we are very fortunate to have community partnerships as well with multiple pantries. So if one in particular says, "Oh, I have too much beef to fit in our freezers, can I drop that off to you?" Absolutely. We donate at least a few hundred pounds of like bread and pastry products to other churches, because that's something that we usually get an abundance of. So we're constantly more than on a weekly basis, we are collaborating with those other pantries, and helping make sure that, everyone has kind of a balance to them. So then if that's less money that they can spend on bread, then they can spend it on something else that they need. And two partnerships that I would be remiss if I didn't mention are Fulfill, which is the food bank for Ocean and Monmouth County. I think we've gotten about 100,000 pounds of food from them,
Wow.
this last year. They've been incredible. And our food recovery network, where we reclaim about 1,500 pounds of food every week that is perfectly edible that otherwise would have gone to waste. So things that could be, let's say, a box of cereal where the box is a little damaged, so it's not cosmetically pleasing, but the inside bag is completely fine. And as long as, that's not punctured, then it's completely edible and it's, not expired. So we get a lot of things like that. Things that are cans might have a little dent on them. But as long as it's not expired and as long as it's not compromised, this is perfectly good food to serve. And I have a rule of thumb where if I wouldn't give it to my son, I won't give it out.
All right. That's great. That's great to know. So if there's someone watching this show right now and they see what's happening in the news with the government shutdown and they feel like they need to act to help out the people that are hungry right now, especially as we're approaching winter and the holiday seasons, what can they do to help?
I would say reach out to whomever you're comfortable with and have a connection with. So maybe you're really involved in your church. Maybe you have a community center nearby. Or, if you are in Ocean County and you're interested in helping out in any of the ways that I mentioned, reach out to us at The Nook at brightharbor.org. And I'm sure that we'll have our contact information posted.
Absolutely.
But one thing that is going to be really important to sustainability in multiple senses of the word is this food recovery that we do. So we partner with, in addition to the 5 Wawas, we're partnered up with 3 different ShopRites, an Aldi, a Dollar General, and a few more local retailers as well. And it's them who is contributing that 1,500 pounds of food or so that we get. So we waste a horrific amount of food in this country every year, but literally metric tons.
Sure.
So this not only prevents waste, but it prevents it prevents unnecessary spending, on the pantry's part. And businesses might not know this, but in New Jersey, they have dual protections. So they have federal and state protections that protect anyone who is donating from any, liability, as long as they're donating in good faith. And not only that, but there's a tax benefit as well. So if anyone is interested in donating food or anything in kind, I can furnish a tax receipt where you will not only get credit for what you had spent on the product, but up to half of what you would have, up to half of the market value. Let's say that there's a really nice store called Pangea Naturals in Manahawkin, and sometimes they'll have things that are, just about to expire or they ordered too much of. So, they'll call me up or they'll text me and they'll say, hey, Vinnie, I have a box of this. And then, yeah, sure, I can pick it up tomorrow and I'll give you a tax receipt.
Cool. Would you work with something like a hotel that does like a breakfast every morning and then they have a ton of food that's still good at the end of the breakfast? Would you work with someone like that?
That would depend on, their protocols, because safety above all is number one. But that does remind me of another partnership that we have with an organization called Share My Meals. And that works with like multiple hospital cafeterias. So it's food that was prepared but was not touched, that was not touched by, any consumers, any clients, but it was prepared in the back safely following all the correct protocols, but it just wasn't served. So then what they do is they preserve it and they facilitate this distribution through this organization called Share My Meals. And we actually serve those meals through our recovery cafe.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
And so the Recovery Cafe is right next door, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we had Marianne on the show, or
Wonderful.
she'll be coming on the show shortly. And it's really great how you have the synergy there with the 2 programs. They seem to be a great complement for each other.
Yeah, we're constantly referring back and forth to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any people you want to add to your dream team as far as like a skill set that you're really looking for right now for volunteers?
Probably drivers who can pick up those donations, and people who, as I mentioned, are personable and are comfortable going up to store managers and saying, excuse me, what do you do with your food at the end of the day? And then a lot of times I like to go to places where I show my face and I'm already spending money, so they're familiar with you, but you can go up to anyone. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I give it to a church, or, oh, I give it to the EMTs, or, oh, I throw it out. So what about if instead of throwing it out, I could pick it up from you and you can get credit for your donations? And then I break out my little infographic and I show them, that they have these protections and what a tax receipt would look like. And it's a really nice organic way of getting them even more involved in supporting the community, because that's one thing about local businesses is that they do love to support the community. They're always coming out for, it seems like, any family in need that you see on social media.
Yeah, and a lot less corporate red tape and that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it's a very natural, organic, homegrown connection. So if you know any businesses that you think might be interested, either you can talk to them or direct, drop me a line. But I'm always looking for people to make those connections as well.
Awesome. All right, Vinnie. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by the farm. And, I invite you in the future, especially when I'm actually growing stuff. So getting ready to start some crops.
What do you want to start first?
The first 2 crops I'm starting are inedible. So I'm planting tulips with Ocean Academy pretty soon in a couple of weeks. And then I'm planting a field of crimson clover, which will actually help with the honey production, which I'm very excited for.
Does it attract bees?
Oh, yeah. And
okay.
it's clover honey is a special type of honey. It's really good honey.
It's tasty.
And we'll have tons of bees by then. I'll have my bee suit. I'll have my license, New Jersey. You hear me? So doing it all legit. But I'll invite you back on the show when we have a lot more produce going, maybe in the springtime. So.
I'm going to watch you do that from a distance, though.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll bring the camera or something like that. Maybe I'll live stream it. I don't know. We'll find out what's happening.
Sounds fun.
But thanks again. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing everything that you produce.
Thank you. All right. Take care.